Hey, Tad.
Hey, Michael.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. We're doing conversations with Tad, guys. If you want to join in and hang out, go ahead and do so. This is just your fly on the wall with me and Tad. We haven't talked in a while. I mean, it's been a week
No,
or
it's been
so.
a little
So
while. Yeah, I've had yeah.
yeah.
That real
So
quick before you say anything, I'm discipling through you, so I don't know what that makes your title. I guess a discipler, but one of the
it just
commandments is
means I'm
thou
master. You can call me master.
master. Okay, yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds about right. Yeah, Morpheus. But one of the commandments is thou shalt not steal,
Yeah.
and I heard from a very good source and an amazing, a great friend of ours uh, named Jason James. And I also know how to get him to watch this. You say his name, the first, the middle, and the end, and he'll watch the whole thing. But Jason
I
James,
just mentioned in my last podcast. He's getting
that's funny.
popular
Yeah, well,
today.
he wants to be mentioned. Go figure. But he said that he stole from him
Oh
Matchbox
my
cars.
gosh. Oh
And he
my
was very passionate
gosh.
about it.
Yeah, yeah. You want me to tell you the story? Here's my book right here, and I'll tell you the story of where he makes this up. Okay.
Okay.
So, if you want to talk about lying, yes, Jason did. You're saying Jason lied, right?
Oh, wow. Well, he says that you stole his stuff.
Oh, okay. So he's lying. That's not the commandment you're thinking of. It's you shall not bear false witness. That's what Jason's doing. I stole nothing from him.
So,
Nothing.
so where's the Matchbox car thing come in?
I have no idea. I don't know what he's talking about. Never known.
Well, he told
I
me
mean,
I
I had
broke his
so many
dinosaur.
Matchboxes already, Hot Wheels. I didn't want to steal from him. He got like just a few, and they all stunk.
Yeah, the ones that nobody else wanted. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
but you remember that dinosaur he had on the sink in his bathroom, in his bedroom,
yeah. The
that was
clay one,
broken for years? I
the clay
touched it.
one,
Huh?
the clay one.
Yeah, the Tyrannosaurus Rex one.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I touched it because I had, I was like, why is this sitting here? I touch it, it falls apart. Mom, we're like 17. Mom, Tad broke my dinosaur. I'm like, dude, this thing's been broke. I just touched it. You broke it. And I'm like, oh my God, here we go.
Yeah, see, I mean, he lies. He
But I was,
lies. He's just. I mean,
so
we need to
did he
get
steal
him
the
on here and
Matchbox
see
car?
if he wants to trust Christ. Maybe become a Christian.
Yeah.
Probably
Hi,
won't.
Jace. Uh, but and I got permission to say here again today. Little Mike's hamburgers. Have you had that on Northwest Expressway
Ah,
across
no.
from Johnny's? Dude, that is the
Oh,
greatest hamburger on the planet. I wouldn't go in if I was a Democrat.
yeah.
It's all Trump, everything. But the best burger, and I've eaten a lot of hamburgers in my life, dude. I have never had anything like. I ate it 2 days in a row. I'll put it that way. And Mike, hi Mike. He's going to be
Little
watching.
Mike's.
Little
Little
Mike's,
Mike's.
it's
Okay.
unbelievable.
I'll have to
Anyway,
check that
okay,
out because me and Zach we're searching for the best burger in the city. We really are. And I
that's it.
just now had he just got Johnny's for the first time.
Oh man,
For the
you
first
got
time,
Ron's,
Johnny's.
Ron's, and then Little Mike's.
Yeah, but nothing beats Johnny's. You know that.
Man, I don't know. I don't know. That's, I don't know.
All right. What do you want to talk about, Ted? Am I
Well, the
guiding
discipleship
this,
thing.
or do you always have something? Tell me a story.
Um, I don't know really what's happening with me or how he's using me. I mean, I know how he's using me, but it's a little overwhelming, and I don't want to. It's hard to believe, and thank God I always have Rhonda there as a witness. But I've had a lot of uh, encounters, and one in particular was very powerful. And I need to get up there to see if it was true or not. But he's speaking through me and using me in ways that I had no idea. And I can feel him when he comes. I get this kind of warm, it's almost butterfly-ish, but it's like a real warm thing. And I kind of lock in on somebody's eyes when it's there. And it's really powerful what he tells me or what I feel him saying. Um, Sometimes it's a vision, and sometimes it's just like you can see in their eyes what they need to be prayed for. So I prayed a lot over the last week with some folks, the week before, and I was spot on. But one in particular, it was about medical and medicine, and there was a patient that really needed some diagnosis that she didn't know or he didn't know how to explain to this nurse. And I woke up thinking about her. Her day off was the day that it all happened, And I asked God, I said, this exactly like this. My eyes are closed. I said, am I bullshitting myself or are you really there? And right then, Michael, she walked in the door and she goes, I bet you were surprised to see me. I wasn't supposed to work today. And I said, man, don't take this the wrong way. But I woke up thinking about you. And for the last 20 minutes, I've been having some conversations. Will you go around and do your rounds and then come back and see me because I got to process this? And she came back and I told her, what I'd felt. And it was pretty amazing, her response. And Rhonda was blown away. And it's just weird. It's just happening over and over. But it's only sometimes like I'll feel this presence. And I'm like, okay, it's almost like where? Like if you ring a doorbell and your dog starts barking,
Yeah.
it's one of those
Yeah.
things. I'm like, who, where, who? Oh, okay. It's crazy. It's crazy. And
Is Tad among the prophets? That's the question for today. Is Tad among the prophets?
And I don't know.
That is something that I would love for you to be. And I can't wait to hear once God tells you something about me. And, anything. Just ask him anything. I always ask him stuff.
All I say when I wake up in the morning.
Just try to request it sometime.
Okay. I don't
just say, listen, give me something about Michael.
Okay. Huh. No, I think that'd be fun. I mean, I don't know how to use this.
Well, I don't know either. I mean, people who are watching this will be laughing because, I'm not a charismatic. And so it's not something I've ever had happen to me. I've ever seen happen in any way that I felt like, okay, I know this is God type thing. But things are happening to you, Tad. And you've told me some of these stories. And it's like, okay, I mean, I'm listening. Here's the deal. I'm listening. And I'm listening to what God says through you. I'm very critical of it. I'll always be very critical. It'll be like, okay, how do I know? It'll always be that question. How do I know this is God? And number two, does it square with what God's already told us? Because those are in Deuteronomy chapter 18 and chapter 13, it says here basically are the rules of a prophet. Number one, God said, whenever the prophet says something, essentially there'll be some type of sign to prove it. Like if the prophecy comes true, right? Like you did, God, how do I know this is you? And she walked in right there and wasn't supposed to be there, right?
Right.
So something like that. And then number two, it has to go along with what God has already said. He won't contradict himself, So it says I think it's the passage in Deuteronomy chapter 13. He says, sometimes I might trick you with a prophecy and I'll give you something. There'll be a prophecy, but it'll, in this context, it said, and the prophet will say, let's go chase after other gods. And so basically it's saying wrong doctrine, right?
Okay.
So if you get a prophecy,
yeah,
it just simply means that what you already know, what the Bible teaches, what the Bible clearly teaches, the prophecy will not speak against that. But normally, it's going to be things like what's happening to you, very practical, everyday things.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I've never had one. So it'd be really
it's a weird
cool
feeling, and it's almost like it's not that I'm listening, and it's not that I'm ignoring either. It's just, it's really, it's crazy. It's bizarre. I'll tell you that.
Well, I'll tell you what. I would say do this. This is what I would do. I would say just like Gideon, the story of Gideon. You've probably never heard the story of Gideon, right? Mm-hmm. Gideon is in the book of Judges. And in this story, he gets something just like that from the Lord. And he's like, don't know if it's from you. How do I know? And he asked the Lord for tests. He says, okay, listen, I hear you, Lord, but I'm scared. I might be crazy. Mm-hmm. So make sure, let's do it this way. Tomorrow morning, whenever I get up, and this is what he particularly said, tomorrow morning, whenever I get up, make there be dew over all the grass, but not on this one big leaf right here, right? Dew everywhere else, but not here. And so he gets up the next morning and it's like that. And he goes, all right, I still might be crazy, God. Let me try one more thing. He said, tomorrow I want to get up and I want there to be dew only on the leaf and not on the rest of the grass. So he woke up and it happened. And God has no problem. As a matter of fact, he'll honor in every single way. You saying, just like you said, God, how do I know it's from you? I don't want to tell somebody like whoever comes in, the Lord told me to tell you, or even I think the Lord's telling me to tell you, because it's kind of manipulative.
That's what I
If you,
said. I said, look, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm new to this. This is
yeah,
just what I
yeah.
felt. And but it was crazy, man.
Well, I don't want to stop it. I don't. You know me. I don't want to stop it in any way, and I get
I'm
excited
questioning
about
it
it.
every time it happens. I question it. I'm like, how do
Yeah.
I know that the pastor, what do you call this, chaplain, came down and talked to me, and I said, and he was talking for a while about God, and I loved it, and I said, I just saw you drinking a glass of red wine and smoking a pipe, and he looked at me, and Rhonda was there, and he was like, how do you know that? I said, I have no idea. I just saw it. Yeah, like a pipe. Yeah, like that. And I looked over at Rhonda, and eyes get about this big, and I'm like, I don't know.
Hey, I wonder if that had anything to do with me. I was holding the pipe right then.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm sure that's
That's random. I mean, it really is kind of random, but oh.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, maybe it's all whatever, but I just know what I feel. And
yeah, I'd say for sure, man. It is. I mean, what a gift that would be. I mean, it'd be incredible. Like I've told you before, the gift of prophecy is something within the scripture that says is the greatest of all gifts. You know, you got the gift of teaching, you got the gift of encouragement, you got the gift of giving, and in 1 Corinthians chapter 14, Paul says the greatest gift to ask for the church is prophecy, because that's a word from the Lord. And so I would say, man, that would be so freaking cool if you were a prophet.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I haven't asked him for anything. I asked him.
No.
I pray for everybody else, but I thank him for everything that I've gone through and going through. I'm very thankful for everything he put me through, and then I put myself
through. Well, you know how I told you got the emotional acuteness, right?
Yes.
But having said that, I mean, that's what I would guess. I would say you may, if these gifts are still around, then that's what I would look at. I would say, do you feel things that you didn't feel before, that are, something that is a push, an urge to have you do something?
It's
and
that feeling like in here, and it's weird. It's I told you that one morning I woke up and I just felt like he was just hugging me, and I feel like it was my dad maybe too.
Yeah.
It started. I think it really started then. I was doing little things before that, but that really kind of. I wonder. I don't know. It's just a weird feeling I get right here. It's real warm. It feels like love, and I just kind of just go with it. I mean, I don't know. It's not up to me.
Yeah.
I don't know, Michael. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just telling you what's happening.
Keep that door wide open. Keep on. This is a big part of discipleship. It's just using your gift. Whenever you use your gift out there in the church, whenever you're doing things that God should call you to, and like I said, I think you've got the gift of evangelism. I know that, because you can't help but tell other people about Christ everywhere you go right now. And I'm not saying that just because you're a new Christian, because new Christians will sometimes be very outgoing at first. I think that is your gift. I mean, it's just you just keep that open, and at the same time, maybe God's going to use prophecy at the same time, like he did with that lady, where she got so incredibly touched because you started talking to her about God, and God, you believe while you were laying there, because you told me, you said, I don't care what anybody tells me. No, I know it was him.
I know. So, I know. And
yeah.
And she was married to a Baptist deacon for 22 years, and they got divorced, and she had since kind of left God. And then after talking, she told me, Rhonda was there, told me that because of our conversation the day before, she said, I need to put him back in my life, and it's because of you. And I was looking over, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening right now. I mean, I don't get it. I said, thank you. She's like, no, I got cold chill bones. And I said, okay, anyway, I like it. And if it doesn't hurt anybody, maybe it's helping somebody,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just keep on doing it the way you're doing it. Make sure that you test them a little bit.
Yeah.
Just make sure,
Yeah.
Just like you did. Say, listen, I'm not sure. Let's wake up tomorrow and have the dew be on the other side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I know
know.
we
I
can't.
mean, here's the deal. He's either going to say this, man, you're testing me. You're not just automatically believing everything that you hear or think is from me. I don't like that. Why would he do that?
Well, I don't want to make him
I
mad.
mean, in the
No.
end, you're honoring his word, right?
Yeah. I'm just, dude,
I mean, you're saying,
I couldn't have thought of that. I couldn't have thought of that to save my life, you know? And he
yeah,
didn't tell me if it was a man or a woman. He just said, and what I heard, I mean, who knows? What I heard was there's someone that doesn't know how to explain their ailments or diagnosis to the nurse or the doctor in the right way. And so I just said, hey, God, it's Tad Amanda down here. And just, let her feel you. Let's give her an extra special day today. Let her feel you in your way to find the person that needs her the most today and the one that you were telling me about so she can do her thing. I love you.
yeah,
Thank you. Amen. It's the same one, but yeah. I don't know, man. I'm not fighting it. I'm just going to enjoy it. It makes me feel good. And
yeah.
it's weird. But what were we talking about the last? I don't remember. You've had so many podcasts, and I love your podcast. Uh, the discipleship program, because I had some questions about that. I can't remember.
Okay.
I
Well, what
don't remember
did
how
you
we.
want to just jump back into where we left off, or do you want to just ask some questions?
Yeah, we were going to talk about rationalization. I think.
Hmm,
I think.
that would fit because I'm doing that right now in my other one, talking about the.
Yeah, that's what made me think about it. And I'm like, I thought we were supposed to do that. I was cheating on it.
Well, I think we were done. We were done with the first part where we went through the sources of theology, and so oh great, I don't even have it here. That's real smart of me. It disappeared. My pot or the the PowerPoint. Hold on just a second. Give me a
Yeah.
second.
See, what else can I say about Jason James? He's going to love that you talked about him in your last podcast, but he won't know because he didn't watch your podcast.
Well, like you said, he'll watch it if we say we talked about him.
Yeah, that's good.
Wayne also. Let's just say his name. Say his name real quick.
Wayne?
Yeah, there we go. We talked about him too now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're so stupid. Billy, he didn't watch this, but I was talking to him earlier, and he goes, maybe you should pray about some of these, doctors you're calling on to kind of see if God will tell you which ones to go to first. And I go, did you just say pray to me? Like I should pray? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. That was a little different. I've known her for 40 something years and never heard her say that one single time.
Yeah, see? I mean, that's what you're doing. It's just crazy. People see you and see the change, and they're going to kick back and watch you for a while. They're just going to say, "I want to see what's going on here. See if this is actually happening because I don't believe it." It's there's a reason for it, and they'll be curious about it, and that's what's happening. I mean, it's what Billy's doing and what everybody will do because I mean, I'm kicking back watching you. I'm like, what is going on? I'm sitting here watching you talk about prophecy, something, I'm like, I don't even know if I believe continued to today. But then you say, hey, I've got prophecy. Well, you didn't even tell me that, Tad. Whenever you first told me, you just simply said, it's really weird. I feel like God is telling me stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you weren't claiming prophecy. You weren't claiming any of the stuff that you might grab a hold of based upon anything other than how would you know that God talks to you sometimes? That's kind of that was my deal. How would you know that?
I don't know. You just feel it, and it's not a voice. It's like a feeling you get, and he kind of for me, I feel like he's pushing me in a direction, and then like all these things, like when I find where he's pushing me, then I get all this information. I don't know, man. I don't know how to explain it. I know it's been gradual, but it's getting stronger and stronger.
That
And
is really cool. I mean, it
yeah,
really is cool.
it's
Some
weird,
people
isn't
get
it?
mad at me for saying it's so cool. It is. I can't help it. I mean, like, you're my buddy. You're Tad.
Yeah, yeah.
Do I have my buddy Tad possibly as a prophet? That
That
is
would be
cool to me.
that would be crazy.
I
And
would
it
just
was it
think,
was
here's what I would think. If we go back, 5 years ago and you said this, that would have been the last thing you said. I mean, you talk about some type of cliche, angry. I mean, just that's the reason why you would say you don't like Christianity and all this is because of these kind of things. And now here you're just, yeah, I think God's telling me stuff.
I mean,
I think God is, I mean, it's crazy, Tad. It really
it is now.
is.
Do tell me about it. It's going through me, and I'm like, what is going on here? And just the way it's yeah. We can talk about it at a different time, but it's
No, I'm jealous. I
it's
really am.
truly. And I pray for so many people when I was I had to get some tests done and was kind of told what to do and what to stop doing, and so doing my I've been doing really well at that stuff. But that's why I was in the hospital, and I prayed with. I mean. Every nurse, every tech that came in to check my vitals, and it was an interesting week. But we all had fun, I think. And
Here's what I'll tell you. I am jealous with a godly jealousy, which basically means I'm jealous in such a way that I'm excited about it. I really am. I mean,
okay, well that makes me happy, man, because you're gonna hold my hand through this whole deal.
yeah,
And
yeah. I don't want to push you away from anything that God is doing in your life. And I'm just kicking back and seeing, and I may have been doing this for a long, long time, but I get into patterns, I get into ruts, and you, somebody like somebody new coming in, you don't have all the pre-understanding and the tradition and things that make you go one way or another automatically. I'm just watching and saying, all right, God, what are you doing here? I mean,
yeah,
just do it. I mean, not that I'm just letting you go. It's not like I'm
no, I know, no,
putting you out at sea
no, right,
and have an
yeah,
anchorless person.
yeah, and
I,
you'd be proud of me. I think I told you this. They do a follow up Zoom call. A doctor will call you and say how you feeling and this and that. And
yeah,
I said fine, and she was kind of talking about the Catholic Church, and she goes, "So you've lost your faith in the church?" I go, "Did you hear what you just said?" Because it kind of struck me. I wasn't really
yeah,
expecting it to go this way, and I
yeah,
could feel my blood pressure going up a little bit. I said, "Do you know what? Think about what you just said. I lost my faith in the church. Yeah, I lost my faith in the church. Which one did you believe in first, God or the church?" And she goes, "Well, I converted to Catholicism, blah, blah, blah. I've been a Catholic longer than you, or was. And then I decided I wanted to, I told her I was an altar boy and all the stuff that I did. Went to school, Catholic school, that was connected to the church. And I said, and finally I got old enough to realize I can think on my own." And she goes, "What you need to do is go to baptism, or not baptism, penance, and go talk to the priest, and get a
yeah,
confession." And I said, "So he can tell me." So he's kind of the liaison between God and I. And she, at this point, I think I'm kind of getting to her, so I backed off a little bit. I said, "I could do a rosary right now, forever. I mean, I get it.
uh,
I just want to learn him my way." And I said, "What's Psalm 3 say?" I didn't know there is a Psalm 3. And she goes, "I don't know." I go, "What about, John 3:16, something that, you see in a football game?"
yeah, yeah,
And she's like, "Well, you're right. We don't really study the Bible that much." I go, "But we study the priest, don't we?
mm,
And we study the church. So I'm going to keep doing it my way. And I just want to think for myself. And then I'll decide maybe Catholicism is where I want to go after I learn the Bible and after I learn to think my own way." And she said, "Well, you gave me a lot to think about." I go, "We can be nice here, but let's get back to these pills you guys have been giving me." So it's interesting. Yeah.
yeah. It definitely is.
I don't think we talked about rationalization last time. We went through a list of, it was examples, I think.
Well, last time, here's where we were at. We were on man, and we talked about the
Yeah. Yeah.
fall of man. And
Yeah.
remember, we read about Adam and Eve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Remember, went through that whole process of Adam and Eve,
Mm-hmm.
and read from the Bible there.
Yep. I'm getting mixed
I
up
mean,
with our podcast and the other podcasts you're doing, actually, because I watch everything you
yeah,
do.
yeah, that's what I think. I think so.
Yeah.
Through theology in a year.
Yeah. I love that.
Okay, well, let's do talk about man. Let's continue on that subject because we've talked about the source of our theology, primarily the Bible. Now we're saying, what does the Bible teach? And so, first of all, start with man. I'm going to give you a few things here to chew on and then ask you if you have any questions. First, you've probably heard of this before, original sin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Original sin is a broad term that refers to the effects that the first sin had on humanity or the origin of sin. So basically what you're doing is you're saying when we talk about original sin, you're talking about how did Adam's sin affect all of his children from then on? How did Adam become a representative of humanity? And then from then on, we were all born in relation to him with regard to his sin and his fall. So right whenever he fell, everybody after him was born fallen. You get it?
Okay. Yeah.
Because they were in Adam. We were at one time literally in Adam, physically in Adam, but the main thing is he was our representative head. He represents humanity. It's kind of like, think of it this way. God could have, at the point of Adam's sin, said, all right, well, humanity turned on me and I'll just let them go their own way. And then he could have turned his back and left all of humanity to suffer whatever consequences followed. But he didn't. And so Adam was our representative whole. He is the first man and he sinned. That's original sin. Okay.
Yeah.
Couple
Quick
more
question.
things.
And this is random, but okay. So I've always wondered this, and I'm sure you've heard this a million times. If it was just Adam and Eve, how do we get this whole world, of people? I mean, you can't have that be that ancestral. I know you have an answer for this, but it's just something I've wondered. Okay, it starts out with two people. Now we got 6 billion, and it all
Yeah.
started from Adam and Eve, and they're all across the water. They're across here. You've heard this, and I'm sure you've said it. I don't have an answer for it though.
Well, I mean, here's the obvious thing is obviously something happened where they produced. I mean, they didn't do anything other than normal production. Right. Humanity's never done anything other than normal production. It's not like we go back and there was a miracle and God made made Adam and Eve, and then he, miraculously brought another million people on the earth to make it populated. So at some point we go back in our progeny. We go back to our fathers and their fathers and their fathers, and we end up at Adam and Eve or something like Adam and Eve. I believe in the literal Adam and Eve. I believe there actually was an Adam and Eve, so however long back, because it all had to start with two people at some point.
But do you think that maybe there could have been like a Jack and Jill over in Africa and they had the same rules and they ate the same apple? Or there could have been, you know what I mean? Is it Adam and Eve? That's where the baseline is, and maybe then some other stuff?
Yeah, sure. Why does there need to be more?
Well, because it doesn't make any sense to me on how they could just populate so much, and probably, I mean, you only live so long, and then now you.
Well, what do you think that they did? I'm not quite understanding.
Well, I think that they had to have had sex and make baby in a normal way.
Yeah.
And then so now you got one, right? Now you got a kid. What was Adam and Eve's kid's name?
Cain, Abel.
That was their first? I thought that was Abraham or
something. I don't know how many they had. It doesn't tell us. I mean, the Bible doesn't tell us exhaustive history. It's just the representative history that they're trying to. I mean, like no book in the world tells you exhaustive history. It just tells you what it's trying to get at and gets there quickly whenever a million other things are going on every day in Adam and Eve's life, and and their children and their children's children, everything. So basically we just have this representative line that goes down from an Adam and Eve. So Adam and Eve had children. Those children married each other. The sisters, brothers married each other. They lived for 1,000 years. And if they had lived for 1,000 years, I don't know how many. I haven't really done the numbers on how many you could produce. Yeah, but everybody's living 1,000 years. And your main goal, your main command by God is to have children. Be fruitful, multiply. That's what he tells them. Subdue the earth. Go out and populate the earth, Adam and Eve. And that's their main primary command. So, I mean, let's say they had let's just be conservative and say they had only 100 children. Okay, and those 100 had 100, and those 100 had 100. I mean, it doesn't take but 20, 30 generations to have the entire Earth populated pretty good. And Adam and Eve would still be alive.
It's like compound interest, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter how odd it may seem to anybody, and this is to someone else out there that says you can't really take it literal because that's silly, right?
Yeah.
Listen, whether you go Adam and Eve or you go with evolution, God guided evolution, you still have the same thing. There's going to be a male and a female that have to come together, produce children and children and children. So no matter what, that's how it started. Now you say, why is it weird for you to go all the way back to one man and one woman? I mean, you really have to at some point. I mean, I don't understand how you could believe in evolution and that happened, because
it's the same thing.
How could a man evolve a penis and a woman evolve a vagina, and they happen to work together, out of mutations?
If we were watching Beavis and Butthead and they just said that,
yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yes, would I got Beavis right?
Yeah, I know, I saw it.
But anyway, so I mean, no matter what, it has to go back to one, one woman. We got no choice.
Right.
With God, without God, you have to go back.
And the original sin is him eating the Bible or the apple or whatever the fruit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that shouldn't. Well, no, not really. Original sin is the effect that Adam had on us.
Okay.
Okay. You can call it original sin, but whenever you talk about it theologically, original sin is the effect of original sin on us.
Okay.
Get it? Okay. So that's kind of an umbrella term. So let me go back to it again.
Sorry. I've been wondering that. Okay.
No, this will help. This will help right here. Next, you have imputed sin. Now, this one is a little bit more difficult for most people to understand, much less accept. The Eastern Orthodox Church does not accept imputed sin. It is the most controversial of all the understandings of sin today. I'm just going to define it, tell you I believe in it, but it's not anything I want to spend too much time on, right?
Right.
But in order to do that, I have to compare it to inherited sin. So think of it this way, okay? Imputed sin and inherited sin are a kind of underneath the umbrella of original sin. What happened to us? How did we become sinners? How are we related to Adam exactly? Number one, we have inherited sin, which refers to the transferal of the sinful nature. You and I are born infected. Both body and soul, we have this virus, and it's called sin. Once Adam got it, everybody else got it afterwards. That's inherited sin. We have, by blood and by spirit, by our clothes. I inherited it from my parents. They inherited it from their parents. They inherited it from their parents, and all the way back, right?
Okay.
That's inherited sin. Imputed sin is a little bit different, and it has to do with the guilt that we have inherited. In other words, inherited sin is just the sin nature. It's the virus itself, right?
Yeah.
The sin virus. It's the reason why you and I, it'd be impossible for us not to sin. It'd be impossible for somebody to come and like that, the old song, "Sinner, I've never sinned. I got a friend named Jesus," right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's impossible. I'm trying to figure out how to switch these things back. I'm not doing very good right now. Okay, there we go. But anyway, so it would be impossible for anybody to go their entire lives without sinning, because we are born with a nature that is predisposed towards it. So you may say, is it possible for somebody to be born and never eat an ounce of food? I say, well, theoretically, yes, but there's a drive within us to eat. We need it. Well, this is what inherited sin is. It is that drive within us to sin. Imputed sin is the guilt of the first sin that got, like Adam and Eve in the garden. Adam sins, and God has a gavel, and he says, boom, everybody's guilty. Humanity is guilty. So that is our relation to Adam. So if we have a direct relation and inherited sin to our parents, the blood, the spiritual blood, the physical blood, then imputed sin is that direct relation to Adam. I have inherited sin because I'm related directly to Adam. I am of the Adamic race, that race of Adam. I need new representation. I need somebody, I need a new head of humanity. And that's what Christ came and did. He came and he did not ever sin, did not have inherited sin or imputed sin. The reason for this is because he was born of a virgin. That's the best we can say, is that's why we don't think he had imputed sin. But he was born, and it was kind of like a clean start. God created within Eve a clean start to humanity and said, okay, we need a new representative. And because he was God and because he was man, he was able to represent us on the cross. And basically he's on the cross saying, I am that new representation. Paul calls him the second Adam, the new Adam. So you're only born in relation to the first Adam. But whenever we die, we're either going to be in relation to the first Adam or the second Adam. And who do we want to be in relation to? The first one or the second one?
I would say, I don't know. No matter, man, I got a 50-50 shot at this. Second Adam.
Okay, let's put it this way. Do you want to be born in, do you want to get before God and be in relation to Adam or Christ?
Christ.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Christ.
I'm just saying, Adam, I didn't even know that guy, man. God, I didn't even know Adam, never met him. But I have talked to Christ a lot. I don't pray to Adam, I pray to Jesus. Can you slide me through? Yeah.
But this is just a way to explain how it is and why it is that we are all born sinners. We're all born guilty, and we all need new representation.
So that's why the Catholics baptize you at birth, is to wash you away from that. So there's some method to the madness there, I guess. But I mean, I don't.
Here's what Catholics are. I don't know. Can you see my cursor?
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah.
Okay. Imputed sin, that for the Catholic is why you get baptized, because it gets rid of the guilt. Doesn't get rid of the sin nature, but it gets rid of the guilt. That's what they believe.
Okay. Okay.
We believe that whenever Christ, Paul says, he who knew no sin became sin on our behalf that we might become the righteousness of God. So it's this new imputation. Beforehand, you're born guilty, like gavel struck, right, with Adam's sin. Now, here's the cool thing, Tad. You are born guilty. When you trust in Christ, what happens is that Christ, like you're born with the gavel struck against you that says you're a sinner your entire life and you need new representation from birth. Whenever Christ died on the cross and you trusted in him, that was imputed to you. His righteousness was imputed to you 100%. So just like you're 100% man, guilty in Adam from birth, whenever you trust
in Christ. Emotionally acute thing. Huh? I said, not with this emotionally acute thing. I'm not sure if I'm 100% man or not anymore.
Well, think of it this way. Think of it as a bank account, because it's an accounting term whenever you talk about imputed, like credited. Okay. You were born with a bank account, -1 million. You're like, how did I get this? I didn't do anything. Well, you're a man. Every man is born with a bank account, -1 million. So our only solution as humanity is to get that taken care of. It'd be nice to get it down to 0, right? And start fresh.
Yeah.
But that's not what happens. We're born -1 million. All the sins of Adam, everything is imputed to our account. Whenever Christ died on the cross, he died with a bank account of +1 million, right? Because he lived perfect life. So his righteousness gets imputed to us. So all of a sudden, after you trust in Christ, right now, Tad, you have a bank account, spiritual bank account, that is perfect in Christ. You are clothed in the righteousness of Christ. Every time God looks down at you, he sees nothing but the white robes of Christ. Same thing with me. there's no way you could be any more righteous before him, because you have to have perfection. And the death of Christ, the trust you put in Christ, caused perfection upon you when God looks at you. Now, not practically speaking, we still screw up. But whenever God is looking down at you in acceptance, do I accept this guy or not? Oh, he's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's another guy.
Yeah.
Michael, he's perfect.
Yeah.
So every one of us are perfect in Christ, because just like we had the imputation, the creditation of sin of Adam, we have the imputation, the creditation of the righteousness of Christ, and that's a perfect righteousness.
So it's almost like
100% perfect.
oh, sorry. It's almost
No,
like
no,
kind
no,
of
I'm
like
done.
an overdraft protection program, with that. He's like, look, you're not going to be perfect. I'm going to let you overdraft a little bit, but I'm only going to let you get $400. You got $1 million.
Well, I mean,
what that is.
Just think of it, kind of ruminate on this. I'm not saying we're ending. I just want you to think about inherent imputed sin and the imputed righteousness of Christ,
Okay.
and think that there's only two heads of the human race, Adam or Christ. You're either found 100% in Adam or 100% in Christ. There's no gradation.
I've never heard it put that way. I like that. Well, we've kind of gone over our time. So hi, Jason, Wayne. I'm glad you guys stayed
Jason,
the whole time.
Wayne.
Well, just to say Jason, James.
Who else can we mention? Who else? Billy.
Yeah.
Hey, Billy.
Hey, Billy.
We'll mention you.
Yeah. I gotta say,
You are an unrighteous SOB, and you are not in the righteousness of Christ. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Hey, Heather and Sally. But anyway,
Billy loves all church talk, right?
I want to talk to you after this if we can.
All right.
Maybe really, truly get on our Tuesday, Thursday schedule. I'll put it in my calendar. You put it in yours. We'll just plan on that.
All right. Think about that.
We keep saying this. We don't do it, but we just got to stick to it, man. I'm talking to too many people about it, and they didn't show up, and I'll see them again or talk to them. And they're like, what happened? I'm like, I don't know. It's me. Just blame it on me and move on. But we've got to be consistent with this. And because I know there's people watching that are listening. Everybody listens. Nobody watches anymore. But anyway, thanks, guys.
All right, Ted. It's good to see you.
Huh? Well,
I said it's good to see you.
We've gone over time.
Huh?
We've gone over the time.
I said it's good to see you.
Oh, it's good to see you, man. Yeah. It's good. It's really good to see you through the eyes I have now. Honestly.
What you think I said?
I don't know. I didn't hear.
I can't even remember how to work this anymore. I'm just going to push end stream. So see you later, Ted.
See you guys.
Thanks, everybody, for showing up. Hopefully this has been helpful for you. Listen, guys, this is part of discipleship. I know I'm throwing out big terms, but don't worry about it. Stick with it. Keep it up. It'll take you 20, 30 times to hear these concepts in 10 different ways. Just like any good advertiser would say, you have to hear something 7 times in at least 7 different ways. That's the same thing with this. So don't get scared off just because it's the first time you heard this kind of stuff. You either, Chad. I'll see you, man.
I love you, Michael.
Love you, man.